Hey guys, welcome to Realization Hub. My name is Michelle Corazao-Dinu, and I'm an intuitive counselor, energy healer, and channeler who loves to bridge the gap between the unseen world of spirit, consciousness, energy, and intuition so that it can apply to your everyday human experience. Today's video is an energy update for April 2024, and I'll be going over any energetic themes, any wisdom that wants to come through for you. So if you enjoyed these videos, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing I want to tune into is this feeling of ungrounding from something that is known to you, like being in familiar, comfortable territory, and kind of ungrounding from that for the sake of exploring something new in your life, for the sake of going into new territory, going into some unknown territory that you have not explored yet in your life before. And so this might be coming up as a general kind of archetypical energy this month of where we may have been very grounded on some level, established some kind of roots or system or routine or just comfort zone in a certain area of our life, and where we may feel ourselves getting a little bit like unrooted from that, and starting to explore something new. Now, this ungrounding that you're doing in your life could stir up a variety of feelings depending on who you are, the type of person you are, and how you handle new experiences. But generally speaking, this energy is a very empowering energy that's kind of got a tone of independence to it, that does embrace new experiences, that does embrace new things for the sake of redesigning your life. So there might be something kind of, as you come into April, that's kind of brewing for you, or kind of, kind of just sitting there, like simmering in some way, like maybe a little stagnant. Something about it is old, or something about it is, needs to be refreshed in some way. Is there something in your life? Is it your entire life, or is it a particular context of your life where something needs to change, something needs to be updated, something needs to be refreshed? Maybe you're just getting bored with a certain part of your life, or maybe it's just feeling stagnant and old, or maybe it's just totally stuck, or maybe it just feels, for a lot of people, it may feel just out of balance. Like something about it is out of balance, and for you to bring it into balance, you have to go and explore something new. Now, as we come into April, we're really going to have a lot of relationship growth periods. This is a continuing theme that I've been talking about over the last year, about this kind of rebalancing that is going on between our relationships and the way we show up in relationships and the way we show up as an individual, and developing our individual self, coming into new identity, becoming something new, and how that puts our relationships through these growth periods, through these phases in which they have to catch up to that, and these phases in which things have to be updated, these phases in which our spiritual agreements have to, break apart, be edited, fall apart, or be renewed in some way, or where we create brand new agreements with new relationships. And so this month has a pretty significant relationship growth period to it. And on a human level, that could very much look like where you're working through old issues and trying to find a new way of communicating those issues. Maybe in the past, those issues, when you spoke about those issues, maybe there could have been some levels of being too direct, too blunt, too aggressive, reacting too quickly. There could have been tendencies to just completely miss the point or miss each other's point, really not get it right, or just kind of not be on the same page about some things. And, there's a pretty big communication growth period and a very big healing opportunity in relationships over this month on a very human level, where through working through these communications and slowing that down, not trying to speed up the process, not trying to just move past, some of these challenges, but, slow down and address some of these challenges that are showing up in relationships, slowing it down, talking through it, communicating through it, things like that. It gives our relationships a very big rebalancing, and it gives our relationships a very big reset. And it gives us more clarity in general about who we are, who we're relating to, and how to navigate the challenges that are arising, in our relationships, or the changes that are arising in our life, and how that might affect ourselves as individuals or our relationships. And so I do see relationships that are staying in our lives right now. There's been a pretty big editing process in our relationships on a spiritual level. There's been a pretty big detoxing process that's been happening in our relationships, and it's kind of that time on earth where it's like, are you going to come with me? And if you're going to come with me, can you actually be aligned with me? Can you actually grow with me? Can you actually dance with me and expand with me and connect with me authentically? Can you meet my needs? Can you respect my boundaries? Can you be authentic? And can I be authentic? And can we create a relationship based on our authentic connection versus a rule book or old values or traditional values, or things that society deem as normal, or just old coping mechanisms, or just unhealthy relationship dynamics in general. So we've been going through a pretty big detoxing process, kind of sifting out relationships that are just not going to come with you. So a lot of people have lost relationships, ended relationships. And a lot of people have gone through an editing process with relationships where they are going to come with you. Those relationships are going to continue to be in your life. And these relationships are going through a major update in April. It's kind of like getting a makeover, or taking your dog to the groomer. There's a pretty big purification process happening on a relationship level. And a need to really refresh the way we do relationships. It's kind of like getting that new look or that new makeover. Relationships are getting a makeover right now on Earth, energetically speaking. They're changing. It's not going to be the same. The way we relate to our relationships is not going to be the same as it was before. And this especially goes to people that are more on the consciousness path, people that are, awakened, people that are evolving, people that are growing, people that are going through enlightenment or self-realization, or, that soulful spiritual evolution process. These are the people that are taking their relationships to a new level, and it's because they're taking themselves to a new level. And so relationships are being reimagined, and we're showing up differently in our relationships because we value ourselves. We show up different in relationships because we know what we want, we know what we deserve, we're becoming more self-connected. And so relationships are becoming more fluid in some ways, allowing more freedom in some ways. There's a quality about relationships that become unconditional in some ways, spacious in some ways, very independent or sovereign in some ways, as well as discerning and contained in some ways. The structure that holds that relationship is can be created, it can be dismantled, it can be adjusted, it can be fluid, and so it's all up for modification based on our individual needs, and so relationships are becoming a lot more authentic, and respectful of each person's individual experience and really what they're here to have and create and do, and our relationships are becoming something that is either aligning with that, coming into alignment with that, or coming out of alignment with that, or in alignment for a short period of time or a long period of time, but it is coming into more of an energetic interplay or dance of whether relationships are truly in resonance with us or not. And this is where I want to bring up more of a soul level perspective, or just a larger perspective. It doesn't necessarily have to be a soul perspective, but we can take it to a soul perspective. A part of this individual and relationship healing experience that's been happening, that is really coming to a head right now on the planet. It's really coming to a type of intensity right now. On a human level, it looks like, the way we are relating to others, and we're working out our shit with everyone, and we're working out our challenges, and we're working out our preferences and our values and our desires and all that stuff, our boundaries, you name it. But on a soul level, what we're really doing is we're working out our relationship with ourselves, and sometimes that is how we relate to ourselves on so many different levels and layers. And one of those layers that I want to speak to is how our masculine energy relates to our feminine energy, and how our feminine energy relates to our masculine energy. And a lot of this updating that's been happening within ourselves as individuals and relationships is a direct reflection of our own internal relationship with these two polarized sides of our energy that constantly dance together in how we create and experience life. And there has been a lot of division between the masculine and the feminine. There's been a lot of separation. There's been a lot of battle, a lot of fighting between the sexes. You see it happening all the time on the planet, the battle of the sexes, men versus women, the feminine versus the masculine. Lots of wounding between the masculine and the feminine, where the feminine has wounded the masculine, where the masculine has wounded the feminine, the imbalance between the two. And so there's actually been quite a lot of healing going on within ourselves, between our masculine and our feminine energy, just slowly, steadily releasing a lot of that division energy that creates conflict between those two polarized energies, within us. and essentially where we have been divided against ourselves. And the more we release that kind of division and that separation between those two sides of us, the more that they start dancing with one another, the more that they start valuing one another, the more that the masculine and the feminine start to come into a type of interplay where it becomes difficult to discern which one is which, to the point where it is a type of unification or a type of unified state between the masculine and the feminine. Who's who, what's what, and it's just becoming very natural. And the feminine starts to embrace the masculine starts to embrace the feminine, and suddenly there's really no division at all. It's all just kind of working as one, And so that is the type of healing I'm talking about in April. That's happening on a very massive collective level, and especially for those people that have been doing the work, are doing the work, those people that are embracing conscious relationships, those people that are embracing a conscious relationship with themselves. We will see people taking their relationship to themselves and others to a totally elevated level, more of an elevated or heightened or just freer, kind of brighter expression on the planet. And so it's actually quite a beautiful healing. And with that said, there is an emphasis on masculine energy in April, where, okay, and then I'm just going to back up here, and talk a little bit about our experience on Earth with the masculine energy and how long it's been where there's been a very obvious imbalance with masculine energy on the planet, to the point where, all of our systems are set up in a masculine way. The way we conduct life and society is set up in a masculine way. There's really no room for our connection to the earth. There's really no room to connect with our bodies anymore. There's really no room to connect with the natural cycles of death and rebirth. There's no real wisdom guiding the planet. There's no longer like this cyclic experience. It's been kind of lost. It's been buried. It's been suppressed, and that's where we have the feminine that has been greatly wounded and suppressed, on the planet, and where the masculine also wounded and suppressed in many different ways as well, but in some way has dominated, and this is in a way like a very pivotal moment in history, I would say, on the planet, where there is a great rebalancing, with masculine energy at this time, where a lot of that, there might be a lot of anger coming up to the surface in April, a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of, because the masculine, the reason why it is dominating, the reason why it is controlling, the reason why it is rough and aggressive and abusive at times in its wounded state, is because the masculine needs to heal. It is deeply wounded, and the masculine within us, the men, if you were to look at that energetically, you would see the very deep pain that the masculine has had to suppress, and April is a month where there's an opportunity for not just men, but the masculine side of us, for us to be rebalancing the wounds of the masculine, opening things up that have been suppressed, letting things release, allowing things to fall apart, allowing things to come back together again and integrate. And it's an incredible moment, I would say, energetically speaking, in the history of this planet, to see the massive healing that can happen, you know, and the rebalancing that can happen between masculine and feminine energy. But I do notice a very big emphasis on masculine energy this month, and it will obviously impact the feminine energy in a very big way as well. And this is a type of change, a big change that that will continue to happen over time, but can bring about very large changes. And so what that might look like energetically speaking, you know, that sounds, it sounds, it's like a very long time coming for everyone. You know, it's a long time coming for this type of healing because, you know, the feminine has been desperate for it, you know, and the masculine has been suffering for it. And then, you know, the relationships, you know, that are reflected from this have been, you know, suffering for it. You know, the gap has been, you know, continuing to grow, and the awkwardness and just the level of the way the masculine and the feminine are healing together has been very clunky and has been haphazard and hasn't been really smooth or gentle. It's been filled with, you know, combustive, kind of fighting, kind of abusive, kind of unhealthy, kind of, you know, like really kind of rough levels of healing, you know. And so this is a little bit like a no more moment, you know, energetically speaking. And what I mean by that is, you know, on a collective level, you know, at least coming from a wave of consciousness, is where we're really done. You know, we're really done with these ways of healing together, these ways of healing within us, and needing to really take that to more of an elevated state of healing. You know, where can we, for example, heal and rebalance through pleasure and through joy and through laughing and amusement and fun and creativity, versus fighting and abuse and control and separation and, you know, suffering and, you know, exhaustion and just draining experiences, you know. And so it's quite a reckoning that's happening in April on this level. It's quite a reckoning. So you know, energetically speaking, it's incredible. It's huge, right? But on a human level, could be really disruptive. You know, could be chaotic for some people. Could be on a collective level in mass consciousness, could be very disruptive and chaotic. Could be a lot of changes, you know. I'm not sure what that would look like on a collective level, but it may be, actually I'm getting a whiff of that. And what we actually might see on a more of a mass consciousness level is where there have been power games or power dynamics related to, you know, masculine structures, masculine systems on the planet that start to fall apart, you know. And it might be one of those moments where, like, if you're involved in that, if you are in close proximity to that, if you're attached to that in some way, it could be chaotic and disruptive and maybe even, create levels of fear or anxiety or things like that. If you're not attached to it, if you have distance with it, if you're neutral to it, if you don't make it personal, it depends on how you relate to it. But it could be like, getting the popcorn out and watching like a really exciting movie, or a really just dramatic movie, or just really interesting movie, or fun movie. It could be entertaining to some degree. And so this is a great reminder for those of you that are sensitive, to really discern this month what is yours and what is not yours. Because the collective might go through its own little freakouts, and, a lot of healing is happening, which means a lot of stuff bubbling up to the surface. I mean, think about what it's like on an individual level to go through an energetic purge or some kind of energetic healing, where that energy, at first it comes up to the surface and it can get very unstable at that time. It can get reactive. It kind of throws a tantrum on its way out, And so if we see that on a massive level, a lot of stuff might be coming up to the surface. It might be painful. It might be it might be same old stuff that we've seen for a long time, just things that have been repeating, except this time there's, a rebalancing that happens with it. Something shifts with that, something changes with that in the way we relate to it as it comes up to the surface on a collective level. So this is a great month to definitely choose for yourself how you want to experience this type of healing. It can be graceful, it can be peaceful, it can be calm, it can be pleasurable, it can be lovely. You can choose the healing experience that you want to have, but it's going to be a very healing experience. And it doesn't matter if mass consciousness is going crazy or being disruptive in some way. You don't have to energetically match that. You don't have to be blending in with everyone else and reacting the way everyone else is reacting. You can trust the process. You can trust the process because it's a rebalancing, and that's what's happening. This month, like I mentioned, there's quite a lot of communication growth periods that could be happening. And I really see that kind of like playing the singing bowls in our relationships. One singing bowl might produce one type of tone, and another singing bowl might produce a different type of tone, but it's not about necessarily being the same. It's about harmonizing the way we're communicating with one another, being in harmony with each other. And that does take that ability to recognize when you are not in harmony, when there is something that is out of tune in the way you're communicating with someone else or in the way someone else is communicating with you. Maybe the words that are coming out of their mouth say one thing, but maybe the energy of what they're saying is communicating something completely different. And this is where we might be given the opportunity to not just listen mentally, for the words of what people are saying, but to listen energetically to the words that you are saying and other people are saying, and seeing if you can actually get in tune and line up with not just the energy of what you're saying, but the words that define the energy in a more accurate way. So there's going to be a lot of this intuitive, psychic, energetic, spiritual kind of action this month. And, at times, we may feel we're walking in cloudy terrain or we're not very clear about what to do next and how to navigate that. And we are being prompted in some ways, with that lack of clarity when things aren't obvious, to kind of turn on your senses, and to really come into that intuition, or to come into that wisdom, or come into that knowing and self-connection, and allow that to help us guide us instead. Come into more of an elevated state or a spiritual connection with ourselves to guide us through these experiences. And that is some of the wisdom coming up for this month, is all this spiritual action or energetic action or psychic action that might be taking place. We may not be completely clear this month. This month may be foggy. There might be some changes we're navigating, or just some shifts that are happening. We might not everything will be clear yet. And so this is where, moving forward slowly is helpful. And this is where tuning into your intuition or wisdom is going to be helpful. So these are some of the ways you can navigate April. And as we get to, mid-month or later, we might finally be getting to a point where there's a lot of transformation happening. A lot of transformation happening within you, your relationships, your life. There might be, a metamorphosis that's going on to some degree. A big one, a small one, in a specific area of your life or in all areas of your life. And, this is where you can slow down and enjoy it. Not everything has to go super fast. You can just enjoy the experience of this change, of this healing, of this transformation, and all sides of it. The breaking down parts of it, the enlightening parts of it, the beautiful parts of it, the harmonizing parts of it. Even any level of grief that may be coming up, any level of anger that may be coming up. In a way, it's all very beautiful. And, there is an energy kind of coming in, as the month moves along, that helps us see the beauty in all of it, even the dark side of it, even the shadow side of it, and like how it can really help us all just transform. The last thing that I want to say about April is that because healing is such a big theme for April, something that actually came up was that this could also be a huge month for anyone who is kind of working in that field as a healer. This could be a month where any level of spiritual teachers, spiritual leaders, healers, people that are out there kind of serving people in the healing process, like therapists, or counselors, or, that healing arena. This could be a month where these types of people are really coming into themselves in a new way, a type of up-leveling, a type of, breaking through upper limits, a type of coming into their power, a type of, even an update for these types of people where they might be shifting the way that they're serving other people in this healing process. They may be stepping out of old dynamics that they used to use in their healing practices and whatever they offer, and stepping into new updated dynamics, and so, maybe I'm just going to throw out some examples here, but this isn't, don't don't attach to what I say, just take it all with a grain of salt. But, let's say you have like a healer that does energy work, and, you've been doing one-on-one sessions for a long time, and you've just been healing other people and doing energy work for them. Excuse me. That could shift. That could shift into working for larger groups of people and just doing, some type of healing experience for just groups of people instead of working one-on-one. Or perhaps, you as a healer discovered that you've outgrown that entirely, and instead you start writing instead, or you start doing public speaking instead. And so instead of doing, one-on-one counseling work or healing work, suddenly you're now doing professional speaking, or you're doing some kind of podcast, or you're writing a book, or you've started to create some type of program or, teaching space instead. So what I'm pointing towards is where things are shifting a lot for healers in April. Healers, teachers, counselors, spiritual guides, things of that nature, people of that nature. This month is where they will be stepping more into the spotlight for themselves, coming into more of their gifts, revealing their gifts, embodying more of their power, shifting and updating the way that they bring service to the world. Maybe even stepping into a whole new updated purpose around what they're doing. So this is a huge month for those types of people. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome month. And again, if you enjoy these videos, please like the video and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out a lot. And if you ever need support, I offer one-on-one sessions. I do intuitive readings and energy healings. And I also teach people how to be in command of their energy, so that they can feel whole and relieved and balanced. And so if you are sensitive to energy and you are struggling with that, I teach people how to manage their energy. I will teach you tools for that. And so if you're interested, you can sign up for my free class. You can join a group session. You can email me. You can sign up for a personal session. I'm here for you. So I hope you have a great month. Take care.